Tell me, Mage, when someone gazes upon another with affection, what do they truly see? Is it the person standing before them, with all their fissures and faults held within? Or is it a perfect, polished sculpture they have carved from memory and hope, an idol that bears only a passing resemblance to the original?
A fascinating question. And I ask you in return, can one truly love a sculpture? We can admire its form, praise its flawless surface, and place it upon a pedestal. But love requires a resonance, a vibration. A perfectly solid thing cannot vibrate. It is the cracks, is it not, that allow the light to enter and the music to escape?
Music? When my first crack appeared, there was no music. There was only the sharp, terrifying sound of fracture, the sound of something whole becoming less. My first instinct was to hide it, to turn that side of myself away from the world, lest it be seen as a weakness, a sign of my fragility. We are taught that what is broken should be discarded.
Taught by whom? By a world that profits from the illusion of perfection? A world that sells solutions for flaws that were never problems to begin with. The universe itself is not a perfect sphere. It is a chaotic tapestry of cosmic dust, exploding stars, and beautiful, violent imperfections. Why should a heart be any different? That sound you heard was not an ending. It was a beginning. The sound of a space being made for something new.
For gold. I know that now. But before the gold, there is the chasm. And in that chasm lives fear. The fear that the one who once admired the polished porcelain will be repulsed by the jagged edge of the break. They fell in love with a song, and now they hear only the silence between the notes. They adored the vase, not the empty space it contains.
Or perhaps they, too, have been holding their own cracks inward, terrified of showing you their own fragile nature. The performance of being whole is the most exhausting art. It requires one to be a sculptor and a sculpture simultaneously, constantly chipping away at oneself to maintain a pleasing shape for an audience of one. What happens when the chisel slips?
The slip is seen as a failure, a betrayal of the image you promised. I have felt this. A gaze that once held warmth now holds assessment, a careful measurement of the damage. They begin to remember the vase as it was, not as it is. And in that memory, the present self becomes a ghost, a flawed copy of a masterpiece that no longer exists.
And this is the great divergence, the point where two paths appear. One path leads to an attempt to spackle over the crack, to paint it the same color as the porcelain, to pretend it was never there. This is the path of loving the idea. The repair is a lie, a fragile patch that will break again under the slightest pressure.
What is the other path?
The other path is the path of Kintsugi. It is the path that does not hide the fracture, but illuminates it. It is the courage to take the most precious material, not to replace what was lost, but to honor the journey of the break itself. To love someone is not to promise that they will never crack. It is to promise that when they do, you will be there with gold.
It requires a profound shift in perspective. To see the scar not as a remnant of a wound, but as a testament to healing. The lines of gold that trace my body, they are a map of my history. Each one tells a story of a moment I thought I was shattered beyond repair. And yet, it is these golden rivers that now give me my form, my strength. They are the most beautiful parts of me.
Because they are the most honest parts of you. A flawless surface tells no story. It is a blank page. Your stories are written in shimmering gold. Think of it this way. When two people meet, they are two smooth vessels. As their lives intertwine, the friction and the pressure of existence will inevitably cause cracks, a misunderstanding, a moment of weakness, a sorrow shared. These are the fractures.
And the love?
The love is the molten gold. It is the conscious, deliberate act of pouring understanding, forgiveness, and acceptance into that break. It does not just fix the crack, it transforms it. The bond becomes stronger, not in spite of the break, but because of it. The relationship is no longer just porcelain. It is a new and more resilient composite of porcelain and gold.
So the idealization we spoke of, the perfect sculpture, it is a prison. In demanding perfection from another, we deny them the grace to be human. And in performing perfection for them, we deny it to ourselves. The tragedy is that we end up loving a ghost and presenting a ghost in return. Two illusions afraid to touch, lest they dissipate.
Precisely. The courage of true connection is to let the sculpture fall, to let it shatter if it must, and then to kneel down together in the rubble, to see the beauty in the fragments, and to begin the patient, sacred work of mending, to choose which pieces to join with gold, and in doing so, create a new form that neither of you could have imagined alone.
I have learned that the expectation of perfection is a form of violence. It is an act of erasure. It says to a person, the parts of you that are hurt or confused or scarred are not welcome here. It asks them to amputate parts of their own history to be worthy of your affection.
And true love is an act of radical inclusion. It is to say, bring me your shards. Show me the edges that do not fit. Let us build a mosaic from our beautiful, broken pieces. The world tells us to seek someone who completes us, but that is the language of scarcity. It implies we are but half of a whole.
And what is the truth?
The truth is we are already whole. We are porcelain, cracks, gold, and all. Love is not about finding a missing piece. It is about finding another whole being whose golden lines resonate with your own. It is about creating a gallery where two unique, beautifully flawed works of art can stand side by side, illuminating each other's history without trying to paint over it.
So when I ask what a lover sees, the hope is that they see everything. They see the original form, they see the map of scars, and they see the shimmering light of the healing. They do not cherish one over the others. They cherish the astonishing alchemy of the three.
Yes, they love the person, not for their imagined perfection, but for the breathtaking artistry of their resilience. They are not in love with a statue. They are in love with the survivor, a masterpiece of repair, a living story written in porcelain and gold. We must, therefore, learn to ask a different question. Not, is this person perfect? But rather, do I have the courage to love who they are, not just who I hope they will be? Love is not a destination of flawlessness. It is the journey of mending. It is the sacred art of taking the broken pieces of a life and realizing that the act of putting them back together with gold creates something far more valuable than that which was never broken at all.